What's going on, Wolves and Warriors? My name's Jay Stewart, and this is the Better Body Academy podcast, the #1 show for those looking to permanently overhaul their mind and body without dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. We banish the fitness industry BS and replace it with science-backed strategies proven through countless client transformations. In the Better Body Academy, we help busy men and women around the world get unstuck and back into momentum so they start feeling strong and sexy again. Our mission is to transform 1 million lives, and you, my friend, could be next. And on that note, let's get straight into today's show. Welcome back to the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. And I have got a banger episode of the podcast today. We are going to be discussing fear. And this is going to be relevant for a number of you guys that are watching live. We've touched a little bit on this on our mastermind program quite recently. And I've just got off the back of the Women's Mastermind weekly call. And yeah, it was a big call. And this was definitely a topic that we kind of touched on. The reason that I am doing this episode is clear. In my personal experience and working with clients over a stack of years, it's the #1 thing that holds people back, fear. So what we're going to do in this podcast is we're going to pull fear apart. We're going to look at how it impacts us. And then we're going to maybe give you a platform for moving forward on your fear. Look, I would just want to start the episode by addressing a side topic, which is this current situation that's happening with lockdown at the moment. I'm going to give you a practical tip. And I know that it is difficult at the moment, and we've kind of moved past what perhaps is the aggressive part over here in North America. But for people in Australia, you guys are probably as deep as you're going to be in it. There is something that you can do on Facebook, which is really going to help you. You don't have to unfriend people. You just click the 3 dots on the top right of their appearance on your newsfeed profile, and you unfollow them. This will mean that you won't be exposed to all of their negativity. They're back and forward in the arguments about vaccines. They're back and forward in the arguments about, what's right and what's wrong. Guys, just turn it off. Just don't buy into it. One of the things that one of my best ever clients, Liam Pinder, did is when he joined the academy, he turned on his notifications for the academy because of the fact that all of it was positive, optimistic stuff, and he turned and unfollowed all of the negative people off. Part of the skill and the success of controlling the controllables is just turning off the noise that doesn't matter. So might sound, you might put that in the too hard basket. Well, that's why you're going to continue to be exposed to the negativity in our world. Look, things are tough in some parts at the moment, but don't make them worse by sitting there unconsciously consuming it over and over and over and over again. Now, anyway, I'm going to move on with this podcast because we're not going to be talking about that now. So the catalyst for this podcast is what happens if I join the Better Body Academy and fail? Okay, so I've had a number of people ask me, can they join the academy? And this is over the course of the last couple of weeks, and they've basically said to me in reaching out, am I able to join? And if I do join and I can't keep it up, is it okay if I quit? I don't plan to quit, but I just want to know if it's okay just in case. Now, I want you to think about that question, okay? For those of you that are in the academy, I want you to think about this question, right? Is it okay if I quit if it doesn't work out for me? Imagine you asked your partner to marry you and they said, yep, but I just want to know, if I decide that marriage is not for me after a couple of weeks or a couple of months, is it okay if I decide to leave? Are you okay with that? Would you still marry them if they were at that point before you actually got married? Or would you be thinking to yourself, I don't want to go all in on someone who is not all in on me and us? And if this occurred, if your partner said to you, yes, I'll marry you, but on the condition that I'm able to get out when I want, do you think that it's because they don't trust you, or it's because they don't trust or believe in themselves? It's definitely the latter. As one of my guys watching says, setting yourself up for failure before you start. So this is the reason why some bright sparks suggested adding "for better or worse until death do us part" as part of most vows. People don't trust and believe in themselves. It's crazy, right? Whenever we step outside of our comfort zone, we start to feel fear. And for people joining a transformation, we're gonna start to feel some fear. People getting into marriage, we're gonna start to feel some fear. That's invariably why it's called a comfort zone, because inside the comfort zone, you rarely get hurt. There's nothing to fear inside the comfort zone, because fear is only created when you become uncomfortable. So most of us, what we actually do is we stay really nicely well in our softly padded comfort zone. Okay? The point is, if we don't fail, okay, we don't get confused, we never go off track, and then we wonder why we're unhappy with our life. It's because we never left our comfort zone. Now, we are going to get really deep here. So to the guys that are watching live or listening later on, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever asked yourself about the meaning of life? The meaning of life. What are we on this planet for? My dad used to say it's to reproduce and maintain humanity. That might be part of the story, but it's not the meaning of life. For me, the meaning of life is to grow and experience and to allow God or Mother Nature or Spirit or whatever you want to call it to express itself fully through our lives. I find the greatest sense of happiness personally as a man when I am growing. I feel a sense of despair when I get out of momentum and stop. What about you? What about you? The growth is not achieving all the material things in the world. The growth is the internal journey. In other words, it's not the external journey. The growth is the internal journey. You cannot grow in the comfort zone. And if the reason you don't leave the comfort zone is because you are fearful of failure, then you will never have a great life. Never have a great life. You will never have any great level of happiness because there's no risk. The only reason that I think it's important to understand and overcome this fear is because I want you to have a great life. So let's pause for a moment so I can ask you, what are you scared of? What do you fear? What are you scared of? What are you scared of? What do you fear? Is it public speaking? Is it skydiving? Is it having your photo taken? There can be many different things that people are scared of, but one of the most crippling types of fear is called social phobias. Social phobias are when you have an irrational fear about how people will react to you or judge you in a certain situation. So if you're watching at home and you're thinking, do I have a fear of that? Social phobias. The fear of rejection or judgment from others is an incredibly powerful force for humans. Much of how we think on a daily basis is calibrated around our circle, right? The views and behaviors of others. So a social phobia might be something as simple as going to a party and being worried that of getting into conversations that you don't know how to get out of them, or not knowing what to say in certain conversations, or being judged in certain conversations. And I can remember back to when I was 18 or 19, despite the fact that people thought I was a pretty confident guy, I was quite crippled by the fear of kind of judgment by the cool kids. Yeah, the cool kids. I see two main social phobias every day. Let me hit you with them. The fear of failure and the fear of judgment. Okay? These are the two social phobias that I see over and over and over again. The fear of failure and the fear of judgment. So what are these? Well, this is the fear that if you, for example, started a fitness transformation and decided to leave your comfort zone, what if you fail? I want you to have a think about this for a moment. Okay? What if I fail? In order for you to fail, you would need to start, and then when things got tough, completely give up on yourself and just concede that I can never get in shape. Now, one of the guys watching live here is Travis, one of my best ever clients. And Trav is a classic example of this. For a period of time, he had a fear of failure until he got into momentum. So if you are held back by a fear of failure, how do you actually fail? You fail when you reach a point where you give up on yourself and you say, you know what? I just can't get in shape. That is factually untrue. Think about it. That is factually untrue. I cannot get in shape. That's not a fact. It's an opinion based on your current level of self-belief. Of course you can get in shape. Of course you can. But it's going to take many failures along the way. I just can never have enough money. Of course you can have some money. But you're not going to get it overnight. It's going to take you failing and learning along the way to be able to build the knowledge that can create the wealth. I'm just never going to be happy in a relationship. Well, as long as you keep telling yourself that you're never going to be happy in a relationship and keep giving up on yourself, you're never going to get happy in a relationship. But it's factually incorrect that you can never be happy in a relationship. That's the fear of failure playing out. You might, for example, fail to get to the gym a number of times during your transformation like you said you would. You may fail to track your nutrition because you're too busy. You may fail to be accountable to your coach. These are failures. But each of these failures are just like little hurdles standing in the way of you getting to your goal. They are there to test you and ask you, how much do you really want to get in shape? You only become a failure if you give up on yourself. That's when you become a failure. So it is inherently, factually untrue for you to say, I can't get in shape. I cannot do this. You can, but you're giving up on yourself. What does this mean? Well, for me, this means the fear of failure is actually you having a fear about people judging you when you slip up. That's what the fear of failure is, right? The fear of people judging you when you slip up, when you fall off the horse, when you get out of momentum. You have a fear that people are going to say, I told you so. I told you you couldn't do it. Because that's the human condition, right? People like seeing failure in other people because it makes them feel better about themselves. But when you think about it, that fear is irrational. It's totally irrational because if you want to get in anywhere in life, you have to fail. You can't go to the next level if you don't fail. And anyone successful will tell you that. I failed in my coaching business for 5, 6, 7 years. I just continued to fail. I made a grand total of $2,000 in 6 years. That is failure. I was working for 5 cents a year. So it's irrational to think that you're going to succeed but never fail. So the fear that you have around the failure is irrational. Not going to the gym isn't itself, like if you skip a gym session, nothing happens. There's nothing to actually be scared of. If that was scared of the judgment that comes when we wanted to lose weight, we tried, but we gave up on ourselves and we stayed the same. It's the judgment that causes the embarrassment which we perceive as fear. Does this make sense? So you're not scared of not going to the gym. If you don't go to the gym, nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. If you don't eat healthy, nothing happens in the interim. What you're scared of is the judgment that is going to come when you start something, fail numerous times, but then give up on yourself, end up back where you started, and then people say, I told you so. So you're scared of people saying, I told you so. You're perceiving that judgment as fear. This is why many of the fears that we have are just completely irrational. Meaning, They're illogical. They're unreasonable. Okay? Here's a good question. If fear was rational, like listen up, guys, if you're watching this at home or live. If fear was rational, should one be more scared of the judgment of failing multiple times on your way to a 20 to 30 kilo transformation, or scared of dying of a heart attack or diabetes from being overweight? Which one's scarier? Which one is candidly scarier? Dying of a heart attack or diabetes in the next 10 years, or your transformation taking 10 years, you end up losing 20 to 30 kilograms, but you get judged on the way? Which one's actually more life-threatening? Are you more likely to die due to the fear of judgment when, as a fitness client, you put your photos up in the group for assessment when you're not comfortable with your current body? Which one's more dangerous to your life right now? The judgment that comes with you putting up photos of your body when you're not really comfortable, or just staying out of shape and doing nothing about it? Which one's more life-threatening? If you ask one of my good clients, Dan Troutman, who was at 120 kilos, smoking, drinking a lot of piss, and really running the gauntlet with, a heart attack, which one's more fearful? Which one's going to create more danger to him? Having a potential heart attack, or the judgment which comes with the potential of failing, even though you're expected to fail? Because no one gets where they want to go unless they fail. Like me, I couldn't have become a decent coach. I couldn't have been able to sit here on a podcast and talk to you guys if I hadn't failed a ridiculous amount of times. Now, if I stopped and got out of momentum because I was scared that people were going to judge me for being egotistic, a wanker, appearing on Facebook with my shirt off, whatever you want to say, whatever the haters want to say, right? I'm moving forward. I was not willing to be held back for the judgment of other people. I decided at a certain point in my life that if I'm worried about the judgment of other people more often, it's because they envy the position that you are in. When I look at some of the people that are transforming inside of our academy, you are the fucking envy, excuse the language, you are the envy of your friends. You are the envy of your friends. I've got one client, and I'm not going to name the name because it'd be awkward for them, but their friends are leaving them because they're becoming too healthy. And instead of going to the pub or sitting at home and drinking a bunch of piss, actually, they just want to go for a walk around the national park. And because there's a division in between what they used to do and their friends still want to do, and what they want to do now as new humans who have left their old life behind, it's causing friction. Which one is something that you should be more fearful of? Losing your friends who are judging you for being healthy, or staying the same, keeping the friends, and having a heart attack because you're at 120 kilograms and you're 4'1". Let's have a chat about fear. Fear is an emotion. It's a subjective experience that causes mental and physical responses in the brain and body. Okay? Fear is an emotion like happiness, like sadness, etc. Fear is actually induced in a region of our brains called the amygdala. The amygdala. This is a tiny, tiny part of your brain that detects when you're in danger, and what it does is triggers what we call the flight or fight response. What that does is releases a few hormones into your blood, adrenaline and cortisol, and they prepare you to run away from a tiger. Only you're not running away from a tiger. You're running away from the judgment of the people in your life. That's what you're running away from. And so when you get fearful of judgment, fearful of failure, your heart comes up a little bit, your heart rate, you get sweaty palms, you might get goosebumps on your skin, you're scared of judgment, you're in the gym and people are looking at me. But your body thinks that you're running away from a tiger. So it feels terrifying. You've learnt this because you've associated experiences that you've had through your childhood and adult life with this emotion. And every time you get triggered, you feel this sense of fear. Okay, this is called classical conditioning. So you developed the fear through these experiences. So from a practical standpoint, how do you think you unlearn the fear? You do the reverse of what you did to create the fear. By understanding the nature of fear, by being more aware of what fear is, you can slowly desensitize to that fear. Slowly exposing yourself to the things that hold you back. As an example, you could start in the gym 1 or 2 days a week, gradually learning new exercises. You could start inside the Better Body Academy, tracking your nutrition and not being scared of carbohydrates. You could start by taking your photos and keeping them to yourself. Then over time, when you start to desensitize to the fear, maybe then you could share them with a friend, and maybe then you could share them inside of our Facebook group. Slowly but surely, desensitizing to the fear of judgment is what works. 2 final points. Number 1, if you are scared of judgment, I want you to know that the only person that is judging you are the ones that are so self-conscious of themselves. They're the ones that are judging you. I'm going to say it again. If you are scared of judgment and it's crippling you, I want you to know that the only person judging you are the ones that are so self-conscious of themselves. The successful people are too busy being successful to worry about it. Like, if I see someone in the gym, I'm not fucking thinking, oh God, look how weak he is. I'm too busy getting better. I don't care about the other people in the gym. You're being judged by people who you should not actually care about. People that are successful are actually more likely to judge you harshly for not trying and accepting mediocrity in your life. Now, I'm just completely being honest here, right? I'm far more likely to judge someone for not getting off their ass and having a go than I actually am to someone who just repeatedly fails and keeps trying. I'm never going to judge that person. Never going to judge that person. They are trying. They're having a go. They're putting themselves out there. They're willing to risk the fail and get back up again. That is a person to be fucking admired, in my opinion. Successful people are too busy being successful and leveling up. Number 2, have a look at your environment. If you are surrounded by people that are playing small, it's going to cause you to do the same. You need to reach out and get involved in a program like ours where we actually support each other, where we level up. On our mastermind call this morning, there was a range of different failures. Give me a silent head nod if you're in the mastermind. Yeah? There's a range of different failures. Oh, I'm struggling to meditate. Oh, I'm struggling to do my mindset scan. Oh, I'm struggling to maintain my momentum. I'm not fucking judging you at all. I'm celebrating you because you're up against your edge. You're out of your comfort zone. You could choose to stay in the comfort zone. And guess what? It'll be comfortable until it becomes uncomfortable. And when it becomes uncomfortable, the comfort is put upon you, as opposed to you getting to choose when to walk at the comfort. I'm going deep here, guys, because this podcast is so important. You can either let the discomfort come to you, and it will, because If you keep your head in the sand long enough, it will invariably come to you, or you can slowly walk at the discomfort. As you're walking to the discomfort, you feel the fear in you. You're like, I can't do this. And self-doubt comes up and the voice in your head and all these things start to, I can't do it. You can. You definitely can, but you're meant to fail along the way. Just keep walking and just keep walking and just keep walking and mess up and it's dirty and it's not sexy and get up again. And eventually what will happen is you will create so much trust in yourself that you just realize, fuck, I'm scared of myself. And then the thing that you should become scared of is what you're actually capable of. My gosh. There is no doubt that fear can be crippling and it takes a lot of courage to ask for help. I am leveling with you. I was in the same situation for 7 years before I reached out to a business coach and asked for help so I could stop failing. But on the other side of your fear lies a freedom like you've never experienced. I'm going to say that again because that is big. On the other side of your fear, your self-doubt, your fear of failure, your fear of judgment, all the reasons that you can't do something, on the other side of that fear lies a level of life experience that you've never felt before. Being able to run around with your kids, being able to feel good in your clothes, being able to do the things that you can't currently do, maybe like hiking. And here's one, being able to have sex with the lights on. Ooh, being able to have sex with the lights on. Being able to trust, being able to believe in yourself again. These are just some of the things that lie on the other side of your fear. So let me ask you a question. Are you willing to sacrifice these things for the fear and judgment of other people in your life? Are you willing to sacrifice those things for the fear of failure and for the fear of judgment? I am not. And there's a very large number of the clients inside the Better Body Academy that are not willing to do that. Because you draw a line in the sand and you recognize that this internal growth journey is one that's going to happen over the course of a lifetime, not the course of the next 5 or 10 weeks. So the only time that you actually fail is when you say, you know what? I concede. I'm cooked. I just can't do it. Get up, let's go again. Come on. The benefit of joining the Better Body Academy is you're going to have a bunch of people in the Women's Academy, 100 women in the Men's Academy, 200 men that are going to cheer you on. Guys, I'm going to love you and leave you there. If anyone wants to stick around and ask some questions after the podcast, I'm happy to do so. This has been the Better Body Academy podcast, the podcast that you come to when you're sick of the dumb diets, unsustainable workout programs, being crippled by fear, and you want liberation. I'm Jay Stewart, your host, and I'll see you in the next episode. Wolves and Warriors, thank you so much for tuning in. If this podcast is hitting the mark for you and giving you the confidence to start your own personal journey, I want you to hit me up on Facebook or head over to my Instagram at jstewart_BetterBodyAcademy and DM me with the words Better Body Academy. I want to give you the tools to permanently overhaul your mind and body without dumb diets and unsustainable workout programs. Our mission is to achieve 1 million lives transformed, and you, my friend, could be next. So hit me up on Facebook or head over to my Instagram at jstewart_BetterBodyAcademy and DM me with the words Better Body Academy, and we can have a chat about whether we can help you with your transformation goals.